Welcome back to the Witch's Way podcast. I'm Kat.
And I'm Jamie, and tonight we are talking about sacred rage. We're talking about anger, really, because rage, I learned, also involves violence, and we're not really addressing violence at this point. But we are addressing what it's like to be angry or at that rage point and then try to suppress it and not express it. That shit will eat you alive. It will cause disease in your body. It will ruin relationships. It will ruin you. It will take your magic away. And so we've got a whole podcast set up tonight to talk about how instead of internalizing our anger and shoving it down and, acting like everything is okay, we're going to put that into some magic. So we've got some rituals for you, some helpful ways to think about anger and sort of like deciding on number one, naming it. Like, so many things. We're gonna get into the whole.
This could have really helped me, in my life. I can think about so many times when I let it out. But it was kind of like, then I got myself in trouble.
Unhealthy.
Because it was super unhealthy the way that I chose to deal with a situation that enraged me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
You guys, to research this podcast, because I like to know what I'm talking about, and I'm not going to say that I know everything. I have the ideas around stuff, but I research it, right? I had to go up and look the difference between anger and rage. So number one, rage has violence, and you sort of have these moments where you are not in control of yourself. So that's true rage. So we're using sacred rage lightly, because I'm hoping nobody's actually raging. And the only time I can think about being physically angry is driving. Definitely, that's the road rage part. I've always joked about that.
Yeah.
But I've never been violent with anybody on the road. Just feels like I could run into them with my car. Not a car, not a person.
I can think of times in relationships where I have not said what I wanted to say and have swallowed that down and just felt that shit inside of me like a storm. I wanted to explode. I mean, it felt like that, like when I was Chuck, when I was with Chuck.
Sure.
There were, you can understand that because you lived through it.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what that's like.
I'm sure you felt rage at times with him too. And as a child, you could not express it. So, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So with rage and anger, the amount of, when you look this up, so if this topic really gets you going and you're like, I should explore more of this for myself, look up the difference between rage and anger, and then it will start to show you, just like a quick Google search will start to show you the underlying causes of anger and rage. And that is where you start to really, that reflection to heal yourself when you see shit in black and white and you're like, oh, God, that makes sense. That is where you can start to heal it, because once you recognize it, that's why naming it is always good. Are you having anger? Is it disappointment? Is it, because anger is also you can have sadness anger. You can have anxiety anger, talk about getting overstimulated. If there's little noises that are repetitive and I'm trying to concentrate on anything, that shit will make me I'll get angry. I gotta find out whatever's making the noise and stop
annoyed rage.
Annoyed rage, yeah. I'll go smash the thing that's making noise or something. I don't know. Or scream. Yeah, that's just my ism of can you fucking stop already?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have that.
I totally relate to that.
My worst one, and I don't know why, is when you take home food and they put them in those little styrofoam containers.
Oh, and
they're in the back seat, and it's. I will throw it out the window. I'll readjust it. I'll pull my car over. I can't listen to that. I don't know why. I think there's just some
nails on a chalkboard, right?
Which don't really bother me that much. But yeah, I can see that being a thing for people as far as something that is really annoying, and then it gets you angry. Yeah. So there's lots of different kinds of anger and lots of things to be angry about. But finding the underlying issue of why does that set you off? Why does it irritate you?
A lot of times our rage is, or at least I speak for myself, when I go back, what caused it? What really brought it on? It's very oftentimes, it's because I'm hurt about something. Yeah. And that hurt turns to anger, then turns to rage if it just keeps going.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So many women have been conditioned to suppress what they're feeling, or if they do have the anger, or it's we're made to seem crazy. People blame our moon cycles. They'll blame anything. I mean, the whole thing of we can't have a woman president because they're emotional and shit like that. Because people think we don't handle our anger well, we've never been allowed to express it in a way that is handled well. Like, what do you mean? There's not a lot of evidence of it. So we've been taught to sort of suppress the anger and just smile through shit and make peace instead of war, like, but really it's not about making peace instead of war. It's about making changes, so the biggest thing to recognize when you're feeling anger is that most likely a boundary of yours has been crossed in some way, and that could be hurt, pain, that could be, like disruption and constant concentration with my weird one of like the noises where it's like that just
grates on
it's
your nerves.
Unnerving. Yeah, it's like a certain weird kind of torture or something. But this is where you can understand that a boundary of some kind is being crossed for you if you get angry, right? Why do I get angry when I'm driving? Because people are making me feel unsafe on the road by their actions. That's why I get angry at them. I'm pissed because they're putting me at risk and everybody else. I'm like, and it makes me angry. Because I don't want to be in a car accident. Like, I do not want to be in a car accident. I don't want anybody to get hurt. The whole jolt of it is just upsetting to me. And so even if it's not happening, but I feel like it might, I'm fucking angry about it.
Have you been in a car wreck before?
Not a real wreck. No. No. Knock on wood. No,
it's not. It is very jarring.
Yeah.
I've been rear-ended, and then one time I turned into somebody. And so when cars come together and collide, and making a left turn in front of somebody, I wasn't going very fast, but it's very jarring. And it's really scary too.
It's very scary. Yeah. I've seen many happen right in front of me. I've seen somebody get T-boned at a light. Somebody ran a light and T-boned the car in front of me, crossing that intersection. So I've seen a lot, and that probably adds to the fear. So when you have anger, you can also have fear underlying that. I mean, there's a multitude of things. That's why I say if you guys like this conversation, definitely do a little bit of an internet search for you so that you can see how to help yourself deal and channel with the anger. Because what we're going to talk about with the spells and stuff is how emotions are energy in motion. And any time that we want a spell to work or a ritual to work, we need to use energy. And emotions are that energy. So we're going to be getting into that. It's when we try to shove it down, we're trying to dissolve that energy. And when we're trying to express it in a healthy way, we're redirecting it. We're recreating it into something else. We're pushing it into a different way. Like for me, it was with my anger and driving, I had to have a mantra that I repeated. So I'm shifting that to a positive note. Instead of me thinking about the bad things that are going to happen that would lead to anger, I would create the mantra that then led to me feeling safe, secure, happy, getting home. Like, that's more of what I thought about. And remember, what we think about, we attract. So for me, that was the other part of it. Whatever energy that I was spinning around in my head, I was going to draw that to me. Yeah. So we're going to learn to work with our anger instead of suppressing it.
We're going to learn to see the signals, see it as a signal, the anger.
Yeah.
We're also going to, we're going to have spell ingredients.
It's a spell ingredient. It truly is. It's an energy form.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful. When you think about, this is what comes to my mind when you think about this as a spell ingredient. You know how you can make moon water and storm water when it's storming and it's lightning and you make water? Because I've done that, like gone out in the rain, thunder and lightning, and that water is more powerful because of that extra energy. That's how I think of that's how you can think of that storm brewing inside of you when you're angry, as or upset about something, or have been offended or treated badly, and now you're raging about it. That's energy. That's really strong energy that you can use towards a spell.
I like that you're putting it with the storm thing, because I also think of like a fire, and earlier you talked about exploding.
Yeah.
You can find an element that you feel comfortable with, and also imagine that your anger looks like that when you're doing your spell. Imagery is really good. It helps you feel what's going on. But I mean, exploding, the fires, a storm, a hurricane, a tornado, for air. I was just trying to think for earth, an earthquake, a volcano. I mean, so like, just there's lots of ways to think about what your anger output looks like, and that can be channeled into a spell.
Okay.
So that's the number one thing to remember whenever you're talking about any emotions, and we say this a lot, but energy or emotion is energy in motion. Emotion, energy in motion. So that's your emotions are that energy, that power. That's what's literally giving life to things, is the energy that you create with your feelings. I just think that for me, whether it's like happiness, sadness, joy, grief, all of that can be channeled if you have the energy to do that. I am more of a like happy spell person. I don't really have any like angry ones. Or mad. I have ones where I'm really determined though. Like I'm very serious about it. But it's not anger. It's like I'm like, I know exactly what I want. And that feels a little bit like I wanted revenge for something, but I wanted revenge in the form of like, the thing that we're doing is more successful because that other person is trying to like cut us down, and us as in a family. And I was just like, yeah, I'm not trying to send anything bad their way, but I was like, let our plans that are laid be so fucking successful, like nobody can deny it, or the person sees it and they're like, all their hate that they're trying to throw is it's nothing. It's not going to be nothing. So that's when I'm like very specific. I'm like gritting my teeth. I'm like, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to say it like that. You ever felt that way?
Yes.
Like with the teeth.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think the best thing to do is to recognize and understand your anger. Sitting with the feeling. You have to know that that's what you're feeling. Like Kat said, yours is hurt first. Then turns into anger.
Yeah, it's precipitated by my feelings were hurt, or I think about it in relationships mostly because in your intimate relationships, I think that's where you experience the most emotions.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you're like living, like you live with somebody, you share your life with them, and you have to deal with all the stresses every day of everyday life. And hopefully there's a lot of joy, but there's always going to be hiccups where something goes wrong, and then you're dealing with a situation that's, has the potential to blow up between you, depending on how you communicate with your partner,
how people react to things, what you say, what's said to you. It is about our response and what we do with it once things are given to us, because the only thing that we can truly control is ourselves and our reactions. Like that, like you're in charge of yourself. That's it. So you can't control what other people are going to do to you, say to you, but you can control everything about what you do with all of that information.
And I think that for me anyway, one of the things that I did try to do in past relationships was I did try to control the other person.
Yeah.
I tried to control like the way they spoke to me or what they were actually doing. Like, let's say my boyfriend was going to go out at 10 o'clock at night and be gone all night long. That really pissed me off. So I was trying to control that, and it didn't work, of course. And that's just brings on more rage.
It's funny because like when you were saying hurt and then it leads to this other thing, mine sounds very kiddish, but it's like I didn't get my way with something. A lot of time when I get angry about something, I didn't get my way with something. And that's the most basic way to put it, but truly what it is like I'm a justice seeker type, so a lot of times when I am upset or something happens, it's because then I get upset, things weren't fair. I was like, no, I understand justice and fairness and equality, and I call that shit out. And in the times where it's been me that has been the person that things were unfairly done to, I asked for things to be done to make up for it, and then that didn't happen. That's when I would get pissed. Because I'm not pissed until somebody decides they're going to do nothing about an injustice. Then I'm mad. Like, I'm sort of mad when the injustice happens, but then I'm like, okay, nope, everybody's snapping to action. Everybody should be taking care of this. We have rules and laws and systems to take care of injustices. And then when it doesn't happen, that turns to anger. That gets me pissed off.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think as you're going through understanding your own feelings of anger, we have some journaling prompts for you that help you define what's really going on, because what this will eventually come down to is boundary setting. You set boundaries, and that's not for other people to respect, it's for you to enforce. That means that if you set a boundary that if I am not going to allow, because you don't say you can't go out. My boundary is that you can't go out after 10 p.m. and stay out all night. That's not a boundary. A boundary is I will not be with somebody who goes out at 10 p.m. and stays out all night. Like, that's not the person for me. Now, her job is not to make sure that he doesn't do that. Her job would be to, if he does that, when he does that, she walks away. You enforce your own boundary.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's like, and that really pisses you off when you realize that now, because this person is doing bullshit, now you got to make a change in your life because they're acting like a goddamn fool.
Accept it or leave, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and you don't, making the decision to end a relationship is a big one, especially when you've spent any time with someone, 6 months, a year, 5, 10 years, 20, you know, just coming to the point where you're like, I'm done. I can't deal with this anymore. I know I put up with a lot of shit in relationships because I tried to control. I was like the person who was like, no, you can't do. I was the ultimatum girl. Like, if you do this, I'm going to do that. And then I never followed through on my threats until like way down the road, until I got to the point where I'm like, that's fucking it. I'm done. That's the last straw. Yeah. So I'm like the last straw girl too. The ultimatum girl and then the last straw. Because once the last straw has been placed on that camel's back, that's it. I'm done. And it's a whole new ball game now. Now I'm not putting up with any shit. But up until then, I'm like tolerating some motherfucker's bullshit.
You know what I imagine?
It makes me so mad.
Don't worry, we're going to journal about it later.
It makes me mad thinking about how much crap I took in relationships, you know, because the alternative was to decide to leave it. Yeah. You know, and that's tough.
What was the fear behind that then?
Oh shit, so many things. Are you kidding me? As a single, you know, a woman with children, you have to worry about, can I pay the rent? Can I pay the bills? Can I live on my own salary? Because, you know, once you kick him out or he leaves or whatever, now you're on your own, completely 100%, you know, responsible for yourself with nobody to help you with. Like, if the car breaks down or, you know, now you got one car and you got 3 kids and it's just, there's... most of this happened, well, no, that's not true, because when I was with Tim, I didn't have kids. Yeah. And yet I still put up with a bunch of bullshit.
I imagined your reactions, like, because you said explode earlier, I imagine, like, the first time that something happened, you were like one of those little firecrackers that you can throw and, like, nobody really gets hurt, it just makes a loud pop. And then as it progressively, then you became like, you know,
it builds up.
The M80, and then you became like a stick of dynamite, and then you became like the atom bomb and like blow everything up, like things like that. I imagine that that's the progression of how anger felt, because it was so many years of dealing with shit. Yeah. And it was the same issues over and over again, just like a different stage, right? Yep. And here you are again in that same thing, and you're just like, what do I do to like stop this? Yeah. What was the ultimate thing that stopped it?
Me leaving.
Walking away.
Yeah. I had to leave, and not only did I have to leave, but I also had to move 1,000 miles away because there were too many ties.
The whole city was a tie. I mean, I couldn't
get free of it without making like a really big change. And that was the same thing when I left your dad. You know, when I left California in 1988, it was the same thing. Like there was such a trauma bond. I think, you know, and there was love too. I mean, we loved each other.
You guys loved each other till the day he died. I know it.
And, you know, so it's like, wow, all these emotions, it's just really intense when you're going through it. But now I'm, you know, single, and I've been single, I've been here 6 years. I've been alone. And I finally have peace, and there's nobody to be mad at, and my house is perfect, and you know,
nobody's leaving tools where they shouldn't be, and like
nobody's
doing dumb
fucking
shit
with me. Yeah. you know, like fucking with me, like yeah. And that's what it feels like. Even though it probably wasn't. They probably weren't really fucking with me. It
wasn't personal, right?
It wasn't. No, it's just that I have found that men will do whatever the fuck they want to do, and they will just deal with the consequences of it, and they're like, they really don't care. If what I want to do is be gone for the weekend and not tell you where I'm at, that's what I'm going to do, and then I'll just deal with you on Monday when I come back, and that's just absolutely enraging.
What's interesting about the way you frame that, because I've said the same thing, but I say men will do what you allow them to get away with. Like, you're the ultimate, because they can't have you if they act a certain way. You got to remove yourself. Like, if they come home and the cake is always sitting on the counter, it's like, well, the cake's still there. It never went anywhere. You know?
Yeah, well, that's when all the, like, threatening and stuff like that, and the big fights come in, and, you know, there's a lot of screaming and crying, and, you know, why are you treating me this way? And, I mean, boy, I tell you.
You could write books on it.
I know. I could write books on it. And
yeah. Well, we have some journaling prompts for you to, you know, listen to these, pick a couple out that you like, sit with it when you're having these feelings and you really want to understand your anger. And the first one is, what is your anger trying to tell you? Again, a boundary has been crossed of some kind. So what boundary is it? Why are you angry? Why does it piss you off that your husband sleeps with the TV on or something? Like, I don't know. Whatever. Somebody asked me once, like, does Tony do anything that annoys me? And I was like, he's like blind to things sometimes, where it's like, you open the refrigerator, like, there's nothing to eat in here. I was like, do I need to label it? Like, what do you mean? What do you not see? The extension cord
I know
thing?
something that irritates you when
What?
he leaves stuff. He takes stuff out and then
half-finished
leaves it. He'll one of the classic examples from recently was I think he had a football.
Oh yeah.
He had a football, like, pick the teams or fantasy football thing, something at your house, and all the guys over, and like beer in the cooler outside by the pool, and had a good time and stuff. 6 weeks later, the cooler with the beer in it is still out by the pool
in the Florida heat, and it's still there. I'm not doing it. I'm not touching it. So it's not my.
So some things are like annoying, and then other things are like, really piss you off, because he's just doing annoying things, like.
So I also reframe them so that I don't get necessarily annoyed. I'm just like, he's funny. Like, I call those his little funny things he does. Well, like, that's just my husband. He just does that.
It's his idiosyncrasies.
The little funny things my husband does, and I'm like, so I giggle about it because if he actually
but not funny,
haha. Well, it's a mess I'll have to deal with later. I'm like, I'm not picking up your toys. Like, that's for you to do. I don't know. Like, I leave my own shit laying around all the time that I got to go back and clean up. So we're not doing that. But, so what is your anger trying to tell you? That's, and do you address it? Do you not? Is it something that is really petty and you're being silly? Because sometimes you'll start to look at the thing that you're angry about and you start going back and you realize it's something much bigger. And it's all these little other things that are like, ooh, now I don't like that and I don't like that. And it could be people at work even. The ones, they'll upset you one time and now everything they do is annoying. You're like, because you never got over the last thing or some.
Yeah, you're holding like a little mini grudge against them because it was never addressed, whatever.
The air is not really cleared. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so what's your anger trying to tell you? Do you need anger management? That might be a good question to ask. I mean, if you're somebody who rages a lot, it might it might be something that, but what's it trying to tell you? Mm-hmm. Maybe, I think that sometimes we don't want to hear what our anger is trying to tell us.
Of course
because not. It's like, this relationship this is how it's going to be, right? I think about my own case. Like, if I wanted to stay in this relationship with this person, I would just have to tolerate certain things, because otherwise I was constantly raging about shit and it wasn't doing anything. Nothing was changing. So it was either walk away or stay and tolerate it. And a lot of women do that, especially women from like my generation. That was something, or even my mother's generation for sure. Yeah. Where women didn't leave their husbands when they were, when they were unfaithful or they hit them, because a lot of them couldn't. So what's your anger trying to tell you?
Yeah. This is the question, when do I feel heat in my body and what triggers it? Jolene and I have this thing where we say hot blood. Mm-hmm. Like, that can also be sort of a scare though, but with getting scared or feared, that can turn into anger because you didn't like the jolt. So like this heat in your body where you get angry about something, something frustrates you. My husband's which is so funny because I laugh at him and I know it pisses him off when I giggle because I can see it in his face. The moment that somebody is in line in front of us and they start shooting the shit with the cashier, he's like, oh my God, here we go. Like, it's like the end of the world for him. He's just like, oh, instantly he's like, he starts like huffing and puffing. And I just think it's the funniest thing. Like, I like to see people interact and have a good time. But for him, that is the worst. He's like, come on, why are you talking? What do you need to talk about? Just buy your groceries and get out. Like, it's so funny. And that's just one of his little isms.
Impatience.
So just at the registers, I don't know why, just like in lines for things. He calls it people dick around too much. He's like, too much dicking around.
Dicking around,
that's it.
Yeah.
So looking at what triggers sort of that like flare up of heat in your body where you might get flushed from it, because you can have an emotion which would be in your chest or your stomach, but then your whole body could sort of feel flush with it. You've experienced anger where you feel super hot, like you get the flush that comes through?
Oh,
you?
no, for me, it's like heart racing,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
it's like happening here in my chest, you know,
Oh,
like
yeah.
or my stomach, like anxiety,
Yeah.
like heart racing and anxiety. I don't really remember the heat, but I was probably just seeing red so much that I wouldn't even feel the heat because
You
by
were the
time
heat.
I was the heat, yeah.
So the other part of it is when we have anger and it's not channeled, because we're going to talk about channeling it and kind of transmuting it into something else. When we're not releasing it or immediately addressing the thing, what are we protecting? You know, like the way that I wrote the question is, what am I protecting with this fire? So am I protecting a boundary line? Am I protecting an injustice for somebody else? Like, I don't like seeing people, you know, take advantage of other people. We had a year, so many years ago now, I don't even know, 10 years, 12, fuck, I don't know, a long time ago. We were at a little haunted house thing, and it's, you know, not a little one, sorry, like a bigger haunted house. And these kids, these young teenagers decided they were going to, you know, act like their parents were towards the front of the line, and they just were like, excuse me, and just cut through the whole line. And when I saw them stop, everybody let them by too, because nobody's like, where are you going, kid? You just assume kids are not going to do that. And they stopped about 10 people up from me and just like stopped there. They didn't know any of those people. They were looking around like, we didn't get caught. I marched myself right up there and I was like, you will get behind me. And that's all I know. Like, I know that you cut in front of all these people and you will get behind me. And every single one of them put their head down and like got behind us. And I was like, yeah, what are you doing? Where are your parents at? But what was funny is like the crowd, everybody clapped for me, and I just was not expecting that because I'm like, you guys are wrong, and people should call you on your shit, and like that's something that they needed to learn.
Yeah.
So I was protecting the line theory of stand in line and wait your turn. I don't know. Like,
Well,
you
the
think about
fairness
what
of
you're,
it.
yeah.
It's the fairness of it. You know, it's like you just cut in front of a whole bunch of people, but you ain't going to cut in front of me because I'm going to call you on it.
Yeah, like I can't tell them to go all the way to the back of the line. I don't even know where they started at, but I was
Right.
like, you will be behind me because I know where I'm at in line, and no.
You weren't here.
Everybody agreed, and they were just like, yeah, good job. Like it was kind of weird. I wasn't looking for the social acceptance and aspect of it. And honestly, I was wondering if other adults would be like, leave them alone. They're kids. You know, I didn't know if anybody would feel the way that I did. So there was a little fear going up there and doing that in front of everybody. Because when you're standing in line, everybody's quiet. You know that you can hear everything that goes on. But so what are you protecting with that, you know, with your anger? Like, what is it that's the boundary that's been crossed? What is the thing that is missing? What has happened? What's went wrong? Yeah. Next one.
What am I afraid of will happen if I express my anger? So yeah, that is a big one. I think especially for women, because you know, we're raised up, be a good girl, be polite, smile, be nice, don't say a bad word. Don't say bad things to people. Don't be confrontational. All this bullshit, you know, like don't stand up for. It's basically don't stand up for yourself.
Yeah, be a doormat.
Be a doormat. So when you decide not to be a doormat, then, you know, I just feel like all those years of being a doormat sort of like bubbles up to the surface. And now when somebody once you've decided it's like, no more, I'm going to start speaking my mind, then things may come out that you surprise you. You know, like you stepping out and saying something to those kids in that line in front of everyone. You had your own fears about what might happen, you know, a confrontation. Maybe the other parents would be like, leave them alone, they're kids. Yeah. Or, you know, they could have been jerks about it and been like, F you, lady, right. You know, we're going to do what we want, you know. Then you have to deal with that situation. So, you know, when you think about what are you afraid of if you express your anger, you do have to go through this scenario. You almost have to play through your head, like, what would happen? Okay, like literally like what would happen or what could happen. Because you never know how other people are going to react to your anger. And that can be scary. That can feel really scary, especially if you already you have some level of not feeling safe with the person that you're with or in the situation that you're in.
That's like at work. I feel like it's really hard for people to bring up issues at work because they don't want to be labeled as difficult or a complainer or bitchy. And so we have all these labels that they put on people, you know, and the newest one in the last, I don't even know how many years, but being a Karen. So if you're like calling people out for doing something wrong, you know, the younger kids will be like, okay, Karen. I'm like, that's a fucking rule. Like, no, you just don't do, like, that's not, yeah, I get the whole idea of somebody being absurd about it, you know, but that's why we're looking at what is the anger, what is it protecting? Like, what are you protecting? I'm not even sure if it sounds right. What is it that you wanted enforced that didn't get it? You know, the boundary that got crossed, what happened? That's why we look at that. And being afraid to express your anger or the discontent that happens because of it, like, and tell somebody, hey, that really upset me, or that, you know, when you do this, this is what happens to me, you know, this is how I feel, or that this is how I perceive this thing. In relationships, that's extremely hard, because you know that time and place is a huge one, right? So say something happens when you're out and about, and then it should be brought up right then, so that, because you're in the moment, but then you wait to get home to talk about it, and then it becomes a whole new thing. Like, why are you dwelling on shit? Like, why are you bringing that happened hours ago? Like, what's wrong with you? So again, you get called the problem because you're trying to address something. Yeah. The last one is, how can this anger guide me towards something better? This is where I say, when you create boundaries, your job is to uphold them. So if you want to create a boundary where this doesn't happen again, like, I've definitely thought about never driving and how I could never drive again. I have, because it really messes with me. And that's why I love going to Europe. We don't, you know, like, when you're in London, you don't have to drive anywhere. Fucking love it. Like, you just walk forever. It's great.
It would be crazy driving there if you had to drive.
I don't want to drive in. That'd be terrible. Yeah, no.
I know, it's very. I've never been, but I've.
Yeah, you've seen pictures in the
I've
city
seen pictures, and I've read, you know, enough about it to know that driving is crazy.
Yeah. So it's like, it's moving you towards something better. Remember that when your anger comes up, it is a signal that something is wrong. So what is it alerting you to, you know, and can you get somewhere better, because your anger is telling you you're not okay with this, you're not okay with this, you're not okay with this. I know nobody really talks about sexual harassment anymore. I don't even know. I haven't been in the regular workplace in a long time, but sexual harassment we used to have a lot of training for that. It used to be brought up a lot, and one of the biggest things was non-reporting, right? Because if you report, you know, or if you don't, or somebody shuts it down, like,
I just read something about the president of Mexico, who's a woman, Claudia Sheinbaum or something like that. President of Mexico is a woman, and she was out, you know, in public, and some guy that she was talking to touched her. I think he tried to kiss her.
Oh, Lord.
And she had to address it, like, right then at that moment. She actually is having charges pressed against him for sexual harassment.
Oh, yeah.
And now she's talking about in her country, in the country of Mexico, making sexual harassment illegal. So apparently it is not. And I know a lot of Mexican guys, and it explains a lot when I hear that sexual harassment is not something that they deal with in Mexico. It explains a lot to me about living in California and dealing with some of the men, some of the Hispanic men and I love them. They're very handsome, by the way, most of them. But you know, the boundary thing with them is like they're kind of like, they feel like they have a right to women. It's almost a cultural thing.
Yeah.
With them. So anyway, so I thought that was really interesting that just came up, and that ties into, you know, what we're talking about, like sexual harassment. We tolerate it sometimes, even though it's against the law. Sometimes we have to tolerate it because what's our other option? We have to go make a big fuss to HR, or we have to like cuss some guy out, you know, walking down the street who's cattle calling or cat calling or whatever they call it. Cat calling?
Cat calling?
Not cattle calling.
Cattle. We're a bunch of fucking horses and, yeah.
I think it's cat calling when they're like, hey, baby. You know, that kind of bullshit, right?
Yeah, I have anxiety about being out and about like that. And mine, it hasn't necessarily always been sexual in nature, but I've had people, remember I told you the day I was on the phone at the gas station early in the morning, and a guy from one of the yard trucks just came over and started like calling me bitch and was like saying all just crazy shit. And I was like, I don't even know why he's talking to me. And he was mad that I was on the phone at the gas pump, I think, but it didn't make any sense. Like legitimately he could have been on drugs. I'm not sure. But I got so scared and uncomfortable, and I was on the phone with my sister, and I was like, and she heard, you know, like yelling. She was like, what is that? And I was like, I'll call you right back. I need to go right now. Like I needed to unhook everything and leave because he was walking to me at the car. And I wasn't sticking around to find out. Like, nope. But I can't imagine if somebody that you're talking to then tries to like be handsy with you. That's where rage would happen for me, and I would probably punch them, and not even. It would be like a reaction. I wouldn't like no thinking. It would just be like that would be it.
Yeah.
You know, because that's every boundary I have being crossed.
Right,
Like, you're in my
yeah.
space, you're touching me. There's no, absolutely not.
Well, and I think, you know, when you think about the question, how can this anger guide me towards something better? In my mind, what that comes down to is the path that we're on as witches. So we're here, you know, just speaking from my own personal experiences, like I want to try to be a better, kinder person,
Yeah.
a more, you know, I want to put good energy out into the world. And so when I think of that question, like what does this anger do for me and how can it make me better? I think along the lines of, okay, so how can I practice these things that I know make me a better person and a better person in the world? So that's kind of where my mind went in thinking about that question.
Yeah. Mine goes to getting rid of people who cross my boundaries and don't care. So really eliminating, you know, toxic people from my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
My anger was letting me know that I was not okay in so many situations, and I needed to get out and should have left when it was, you know, it's the little firecracker, right? Where you're just like throwing them and like you're mad, but you're not ready to leave yet. So it was trying to push me to something better, and definitely finally leaving South Carolina, moving to Florida, meeting Tony, like, you know, everything happened in divine timing, and I'm happy with the way it all happened. But I can see where now I'm much quicker to recognize that anger is, the feelings are coming up because something is wrong, and I explore that, and it's trying to tell me something. What are you not okay with, Jamie? You know, like, what has happened? Like, and I can also admit that definitely the week before my period, I'm going to be edgier than usual. Like with my own self even, like get frustrated trying to put in an earring and can't find the damn hole. Like I'll get mad or annoyed really quickly with that, where you just have a shorter fuse sometimes. And we need to give ourselves grace for that. Our bodies are literally controlled by hormone monsters that we have. Like we're not in control sometimes. That's so true. Recognizing it, working through it, and telling yourself like, oh, I don't need to get mad. That's right. I'm at my 3rd week of whatever cycle, and like this is the time when I'm hungrier, I'm more tired, maybe I'm more irritable, like whatever. Our cycles run through so fast, you know, that it's like we have to deal with the ups and downs of that where we don't feel in control monthly. You know,
I also think that we have cycles. I know I cycle through like what's going on in the sky, depending where the planets are.
Yes.
And like the planets will totally like, I'm like, what's wrong with me today? And then I look and see what's going on in the sky. I was like, oh, okay, thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, Mars.
the influence of the
and so,
wandering
so,
stars.
You know, like that's out of our control too, because that's things that it's not a force that we can recognize. It's like we have to dig into it. Like, what is going on? Why does something small, like, why am I pissed off today about just stupid shit?
Yeah.
I get real frustrated with things with work. Sometimes I'm like, God damn it. Why the fuck? Why do I get like 50 questions of the same thing?
And other days it's like 50 questions of the same thing, and she's answering them all easily, like,
and other days I'm more like understanding, well, these people need this information and they don't remember it. And I've had to ask people to repeat information to me too, so hello. Okay, so next we're going to talk about the alchemy: recognize, root, and release.
So when we think of alchemy, we're turning one thing into something else, right? That's the ancient practice of alchemy. They wanted to, the sorcerer's stone, turn something into gold, whatever. So to alchemize something is to take it from its form and turn it into something that is better, more productive, better for you. And that's why recognizing the emotion, the underlying cause of it, recognizing that you are angry, if that's just as far as you get right now, but the root of it. So why are you angry? What's this anger doing? Why is it there? What's it trying to tell you? And then knowing how to release it, because we're going to get into the rituals and spells just after this. But to recognize it, we want you to name the feeling without having shame, okay? I'm angry because blank. Boom. No shame on it. No guilt. No nothing. Don't attach anything to it. I'm angry because, bam, label it. Next is, ask yourself, this is where the thinking comes in, what's beneath that thing? I'm angry because somebody cut me off in traffic. All right, what's underneath of that? Fear, betrayal, loss, are you just exhausted? Is it
Injustice is a big one.
Injustice is huge for me. And
huge,
Cameron,
yeah.
he is mostly angry about everything that's so unjust in the world. For me, I had to realize why I'm angry in traffic is because I'm afraid of being hurt. I don't want to be in a car accident. I didn't realize that fear was underlying my anger because I want to avoid the accident. How do we release it? How do we move it into something better? I took all of that anxious energy that I had and I created a mantra and I just said that mantra, which is helping train my brain that when I get in the car, I don't immediately feel scared, anxious, worried, looking out, being super defensive. I still have that, but it's just not as extreme as it was. So when you let it move, you can write about it, you can cry. I like to cry. I had a really hard Sunday night. Cameron was going in the hospital Monday, and Tony had gone in the hospital on Sunday unexpectedly. And I remember walking up to my house, and I was in my car singing Taylor Swift, good songs, But as I walked to my house, all of a sudden it hit me, and then I just stood there and I cried before I went in. I was like,
it's a release.
It's a release. It's a release to cry about it.
Yeah.
You can walk, you can go somewhere and yell. I love, there was a popular thing, because Selena sent me an invitation one time. She's like, hey, you want to scream in the woods and get coffee afterwards or something? There was an Instagram thing. It was going out and really, I think that's the other thing that we've never talked about, but women being able to use their voices and get loud and yell. We're taught to be quiet and soft and feminine and whatever that looks like, right? Mm-hmm. Being able to scream and yell, I do that with songs in the car. That's my safe space to yell and scream whatever I want with music. Paint, so make art. Also getting into your practice, meditating, whatever it is that makes you feel good. This is how we can take the anger and turn it into something, give that energy to something else that moves it, releases it, transmutes it. Yeah. So don't repress it, redirect it. That's the biggest thing. Don't repress your anger and the feelings that you're uncomfortable with. We want to redirect them into something better.
Acknowledgement of it transforms your anger from chaos to clarity, because you're actually giving it, you're recognizing, it's like a thing. It's almost like a thing outside of yourself, where you can be like, yes, I see you. I recognize you. I
acknowledge you.
I acknowledge you. I respect you. I have respect for you.
Anger has a job. It does have a job. It's not an emotion that we shouldn't feel. Anger has a job. It lets you know that a boundary is being crossed. Yeah. So once you name the wound, you can heal it, or you can, hex it, release it.
Hex the shit out of it.
You can do whatever you want with it once you have the idea of what it is. Once you know, that's how you can move forward with it. Yeah.
So something important to remember is that if you suppress your anger, you're going to end up just with that left inside of you like a poison.
Yeah.
And but if you let it out with exhaling or screaming or even crying through tears, it becomes protection.
Yeah. Because you're not letting it sit and poison your body, I truly think that people have really miserable people.
Oh God, there's so many of them today.
I don't know.
Look at the male loneliness epidemic. There's so many men. There's so many men that are so angry about women, and they're miserable.
They shouldn't have fucked up. I mean,
they shouldn't be assholes.
They're species.
And expect maids and sex kittens and all their expectations that they have of us.
That sounds
okay, so let's talk about some spells and rituals for channeling anger.
Yes, yeah. So one that is my favorite, I use it all the time, even with candles that I light, I always have something I say, but this would be a fire bowl release ritual. I have a chimenea. We get together. We will write shit on paper and burn it. We will have paper, because sometimes we got a lot of shit to say that we don't want to write it all down. We want to burn it anyways. So we'll have pieces of paper, and you crumple it up and you say the thing, and then you throw it in the fire. So it's almost instead of writing it on the paper, we just say it. Sometimes we need to get shit done faster than sitting and writing it all out. But
sometimes it's too much to write out because there's too many things.
There's a lot of things that come up. It can be anger around a situation. It's multifaceted. It's all over the place. But you can stand there and just add things to the fire that you want to burn away or transmute or let go of, or just you name it, and then be fucking be gone. That's it. I'm done with you. That you're not healthy, or you made the decision to leave the place, or you figured out how to get the boundary not be crossed. Now you need to release the anger into something. And a fire bowl release ritual, or a chimenea, or a fire pit. It is fall. Stepping into winter. Oh my goodness. So time for fires. I'm jealous of anybody who has an actual fireplace in their house. I almost said a fire pit in their house. Because it's somewhere. I was like, what's it called? Fireplace in their house? I would love that. I've thought about it for mine, but mine's a wood house. That'd be a terrible decision, but yeah. I have an electric fire in my house. That's what I have.
You've got that one you put in the alcohol. No, what do you call it? That's
a
not
whiskey lounge.
The whiskey lounge.
It's a whiskey lounge. Yep.
Yeah, one of those fake fires that you hang on the wall.
Yeah.
Electronic ones.
Yeah. So here's how you would do it. You would write down all your frustrations, your betrayals, your hurts, your angers, your pissed off, your annoyances, like whatever you've been holding on to, like whatever it is that you feel like you need to release around a situation. And you can do this as many times as you want, by the way. And then speak them out loud. Like we do that. There's something really powerful when you say it out loud. You're letting it get out of you, like the exhale of a breath. If you've learned meditation, you're inhaling a colored, light or smoke, which usually they're like a white light in and then breathe out like dark gray matter, whatever it is that's the anger. It's the same thing. Like when you speak out the things that are really bothering you, you're able to let them go. You can also just do it in your head and put it in the fire and have like a serene moment. You don't have to be loud with it.
I do think it helps to speak it, because if it stays in my head, it'll just keep ruminating around. It rattles around in there, like marbles.
Angry little marbles in her head. So you're gonna put the paper in there, burn it safely, take all precautions. And as the smoke rises, so here's where you want to use more of your visualization. That paper is being burned by the fire, it's being transformed, and then it's gonna rise as smoke, and you can imagine that smoke is the anger cleared energy going back and being reused, repurposed into something else. It can turn into strength for you. You can call it in for your prosperity, but you can transmute it into something else instead of letting it like weigh you down. Yeah.
The next spell was that a spell? That was a ritual. The next is a spell, and this is a candle for clarity. Candle of clarity. Sorry. So this is to help you understand and integrate your anger. You're going to want a red or orange candle if you have it, for courage and transformation. Carve your name or word such as clarity or peace into the candle. Dress it with oil or cinnamon oil or rosemary, and then as you burn it, say something like, I honor my anger with sacred fire. I listen, I learn, I transform. What once burned me now fuels me. I just think that's a really powerful. That sounds like I haven't done this one, but it sounds very powerful to me. Just the little process of it, like, if you're mad, you're like carving into it.
I often do not carve into
because you're
stuff.
Gonna break it.
I use really small spell candles, so I will write it on a piece of paper and put it under the candle, but like drip wax on it and stick it on there so that it feels like it's really formed to it.
Yeah.
And then same thing, I don't have cinnamon oil, but the cinnamon powder, like I just sprinkle that at the base of it. So turn this, what am I trying to say?
Modify it to what you have.
Yeah.
What tools you have available to you. If you don't have oil, so you can use cinnamon.
Yeah.
Pretty much everybody has cinnamon in their kitchen.
During this time of year, definitely.
Yeah. You can use that.
Yeah, using the cinnamon. Cinnamon is such a great transformer. It's actually bark of a tree, and then when it gets wet, it turns into sort of a gel. Like it's its own transformer. Like it's very interesting. Yeah. Spice. Yeah. Like because it's part of the plant that is the bark. Then when it gets wet, like turns gooey a little bit. Yeah. Oh. It's very interesting. I like it. I love it. Rosemary is one that is anything mental. So if your anger is really stuck in your head, like cinnamon is more fire and action if you want to do something about it. But I would say with rosemary, that's more stuff for the marbles in your head that are spinning around. Yeah. Rosemary is really good for anything to do with the head. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So the next one is a salt bath of release. And for me, I haven't taken baths in a very long time. I bought this really nice bath. She has the most fabulous bathtub.
I do. This side of whatever, this side of, like I imagine tubs like this in palaces in Europe
It is
somewhere.
not that great. Okay.
It's a great big, like,
is a big
get in it.
It can actually fit 2 people. That's why I got it.
It seems like you could have a party there with like 4 people in it. It's that
Probably
big.
3 max, but yeah. It's not one of those hot tubs that are in houses. It's just a regular bathtub. It is really meant for just one person.
But it's one that it's like
very big and deep.
Yeah, and it sits like, it's not a bathtub like that sits into the wall. It's one of those that like stands alone.
Yeah.
Stands alone, but it's very deep. And when you fill it up, and I can't believe she's never taken a bath in there. When I lived with her for 6 months when I moved to Florida, and I loved that bath. And still today, you still have not taken like. Why?
No, I don't know, because it never feels like my space. So like, until I make that bathroom feel like my space, I feel like I'm bathing in somebody else's bathtub, which is so weird, because I spent forever looking for that bathtub and picking it out, and I just never realized how many people would come and stay at the house and how many people have used it now. It's so, in my head, it's so odd, like, I don't know.
It's like a public bath.
It's a public
like,
tub.
I'm not getting in the public bath.
It's a public tub. I don't know.
Well, I know I'm sure that when I soaked in it, that I cleaned it first, because other people, because it's the main bathroom for the rest of the house, and so anybody that's staying there has to shower, because there's only 2 bathrooms with shower facilities, the master and then this room.
Yeah.
So it's been,
It's been cleaned a lot, of course, but it's been used a lot. Yeah. So, anyways, I am giving you this salt bath release because I have literally collected everything for my rituals, and they have sat in there, and other people have used the salts and the herbs, and I'm really happy to help other people take these magical baths at my house, but I've never done it myself. So, true confessions of a witch right there. I feel like when you do something in water, this is to really help release the emotional side of it. This is the calm down part, right? If anger is fire, you're getting into water. You're doing something that really helps calm the flame, put it out completely, bring you back to center, get it balanced with where if you have too much fire, too much anger, getting in a tub and soaking can really release. It releases tension in the body, Epsom salts, any of the salts that you put in there, the rosemary rose, everything is going to make you feel physically better, which is going to help you calm the emotional part of yourself as well. So this is to calm after emotional storms. Fill your tub with water and add Epsom salts and literally any of the bigger herbs that you want. Sprigs are great because you can clean them up easier. Again, I've done all this. I've set everything up. But
warning.
Yeah.
Don't put rose petals and oil in your bath. Because it makes a big mess. I think Jolene clogged her bath.
Yeah, you have to scoop stuff out before you drain it if you're going to use bigger stuff. But with sprigs, anything that's on a stem is great because
it's easy to pick up.
It doesn't try to go to the drain, it stays on the flat part of the tub.
I like orange peel. I never thought about orange peel.
Yeah, citrus is so good for revitalizing, and citrus is really about success. It's the orange color again. Mm-hmm. So it's about our creative center in our body, the energy center that creates. And when you have create is not like red where passion, survival. It's create like sacred creation. So you're using oranges is a way to bring in a warmth that is more soothing and about creative endeavors and prosperity and again growing yourself. So orange peels or orange slices or whatever you want to put in there, it's totally fine. You can literally cut up an orange and just throw it in your bath with you. The vitamin C that you get from it is great for your skin, by the way. You speak into the water or into the air, if you're running the shower. There's also those
bombs,
the ones that are what's it called, where shower effervescence, those.
Yeah.
The one that's a releasing if you have a steamer going on in there.
I think, didn't we get those from, was it Selena that gave it Selena that gave us those for Christmas?
Yeah, as a gift. Yep,
a couple of years ago. Those are very cool.
They're very nice.
I love that.
But speak into the water or into the air, the steam, whatever's going on in your bath. I release all the heavy energy that does not serve me in my healing. That's just really it. You're releasing and you're thinking about your healing and bringing your body back to stasis, something that is calm and neutral and not on fire. You don't want to be soggy, soaking wet and crying and sad, but you want to come back to some kind of, stasis, where you're feeling more normal. More balanced. Not normal, balanced. Yeah.
Balanced,
Who the fuck is normal these days? Like
Nobody. Thankfully.
As you soak, imagine the water is literally pulling the toxicity, the anger, the frustration, the emotional weight off of you, and replacing it with those herbs that are like warmth and renewal and creative endeavors, and like it's redirecting your energy towards something else. And then of course the best part is like when you're draining the bath, you can sit there and watch it drain and see all of your bullshit going down the drain and being like, bye.
Bye.
Go be repurposed elsewhere. So that's a salt bath of release.
It makes me want to take a bath.
You can come over anytime. I still have tons of salts and stuff.
I know. Our next one is a scream jar or a breath jar. And the purpose of this is to safely expel energy. So I guess we're going to take any kind of a jar with a lid.
Any kind of jar with a lid.
Any kind of jar with a lid.
You could yell into a pan, but it hurts more.
And shout, whisper, or sigh your anger into the jar. And then seal it, shake it, and visualize the energy being contained and neutralized. I really like that. I could really visualize that happening.
I picture little atoms like literally breaking apart.
Yeah, like, I mean, I could like see, it going in and sort of looking like black, gunky something or another, the anger.
Yeah.
And then shaking it up and just making it dissolve. You can either bury it or pour it into running water. So with that jar.
And it's literally like air, so I know you'll feel really silly doing it. So visualization is going to be big with this one to understand that, like, again, speaking the words out is getting the venom out of your body. Like, get it out. And I think, so I just, I don't know why mine is not the same as yours.
What?
I don't know why. It didn't. We're looking at our iPads. Yeah, my iPad didn't update.
So do you not have integration, turning anger into action?
I don't.
Okay, well then I'll go with this one. So the next is integration, turning anger into action. The real magic happens after the ritual.
It does, because you do the ritual and you're in the moment and you do the things, but there's, how we feed spells? There's still a feeding to yourself that you need to tend to it, whatever you've done.
And also, I think that after you've used some things, there's initial feelings once you've done a spell or a ritual to release shit from your life, from your inside of you. And then, so there's that initial, release of it. And then you go about your day and you're like this totally different, almost like a different person. You're like feeling better in the world and in your place in the world. That's how I see it anyway. So use your clarity to create change. Have the hard conversations. Set boundaries. Not ultimatums like me.
All of us have done it.
Start the new project or walk away from what drains you. That's something I feel like is really, really hard for us to do as women, because we feel so responsible for all of the people in our lives. And so it's very hard for us to make that, to get to the point where we're like, I have to walk away from this, because we're nurturers by the nature of being women and mothers and, little girls playing with dolls or whatever. We're just kind of like, it's almost in our DNA to be nurturing. Remember that every act of self-respect in a spell is a spell in motion. So every act of self-respect is a spell in motion.
It is. Because how you carry yourself, the energy that you're putting out all the time is what you're attracting back to yourself. So when we take time out to do a spell or a ritual, we're really doing focused energy on that thing for, 30, 40 minutes, maybe an hour. And we're really focused. But the rest of our day, this is what I talked about, you still have to tend to the things that you wanted. You don't just do that and then never think about it again. It's like, nope, now I change one little thing that I do that aligns with what I was really seeking and wanting from the spell, whether you're releasing something or calling something into your life. So that's why when you get done with this, what any of the spells or rituals that we talked about, you've transformed it in your own body, but now you need to transform the situation. Now you need to go forward knowing that I need to make a decision on how to not let this keep happening to me. I need to make a decision. I need to let somebody know. I can give them an opportunity to change. If they don't, then you just draw out a plan. The best thing that you can do after a ritual, if you need to make decisions, is once you are all calmed down and you've got things out of you, is say, okay, let's logically go through this now, because that heavy energy of anger as an emotion can really fucking cloud our judgment. It can really make us do irrational things. It can just, it can put you all over the place, which is why we want to bring our body back to a balance. And then we can make decisions, make plans, say, here's what I really want. This is, do things like look at what do you want in 6 months? What do you want in 1 year? What do you want in 5 years? When you look at plans like that, ask yourself if the situations that are making you angry, the lines that are being crossed in your life, do you still want that present in 6 months, in 1 year, in 5 years? I know ideally we would just have everybody, we would control them all and they would all do the things that we wanted and we would have no confrontation because all of our needs are being met. But sometimes the workplace, the relationship, the family members, the whatever, it's not in our best interest. And the lesson is learning how to walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that you're not overreacting, you're awakening, and that your fire was never meant to destroy you. So I know I've sometimes let my anger get the best of me and cause me more problems.
Yeah.
Than like the one that I had. But your anger is meant to light your path.
Yeah.
The fire from your anger is meant to light your path. So it's like lighting a fire under your butt to get you moving.
It's supposed to be a motivator of some kind.
It's supposed to motivate you to make changes. So if you find yourself angry in your relationship, in your job, like what is the underlying thing that needs to happen there? Like really. And when you're logical, when you're calm and in stasis,
back to
balance. Yep. When you're balanced, when you're not angry, upset, crying, anything, you can think logically through that. Like, okay, this just keeps happening. It's your job. A job is like a perfect thing because you got to go in there every day and you got to spend like 8 or 9 hours a day with the same people, dealing with the same stuff. You spend most of your week. You spend more time in your job than you do in your own life. So if you have a situation in your job where it's really causing you a lot of stress and then anger, and you find yourself mad a lot, you're going home mad at night, what's that telling you? I mean, and a lot of times I know myself, sometimes I don't want to know. Like, I don't want to know the answer.
A wild water sign thing to say.
I
just
don't
live in fantasy land.
You know what it is that I don't want to admit it to myself. I'm not yet ready to admit to myself what I already know deep down. Because deep down, I already know what's going on. But I'm just not there yet. So, but that fire will continue to flare up and, hopefully it will eventually light your path to a new place where you can be more peaceful and happier
and balance. Like whatever balance looks like for you, that's where we want you to be able to get to by uncovering all of this shit. The only thing that I didn't mention in this, but as you were talking, I was like, you could be the problem. Like we mentioned how everybody else is the problem, right? All the lines being crossed are everybody else. You could go through this and understand like, oh my gosh, my expectations are really irrational. I have had that realization as well. Yeah, I've had the realization that the way that I chose to handle things in relationships wasn't the best. Yeah. Like I could have done, if I could have been more rational instead of like irrational and emotional, I may have been able to handle things differently, but I wasn't. I was super emotional and then that led me to being irrational, and then that just leads to all kinds of other stuff, and then you realize it's like, shit, it's me. I'm the problem, guys. I'm the problem. I didn't put any of that in there because usually when anger comes up, it is because one of your boundaries is being crossed. But you could look at and see if you have unrealistic boundaries or expectations, or really what you think the world should be doing for you, with you. That also requires a rework. And I couldn't include all of that in this podcast, so maybe we need to make one about that, about how we're the problem. Yeah, I'm the problem. It's me.
We hope you let your fire refine you, not consume you.
Yes,
Until
definitely.
next time, tend your fire with love. And remember, witches don't repress their emotions. They redirect them.
That's right. It's all about transmuting, alchemy, turning something into something
the path.
else.
That is actually the journey
That
of
is
a
the
witch.
journey, yep.
It's not all the aesthetic stuff. So until next time, be blessed. We'll see ya.
Bye, witches.